Hello everyone, Corey Anderson here. Right now, I'm going to go over with a small little book with you. It's called The Instant Millionaire. It was written by Mark Fisher, and trying to find the date that it was written back in. By 1990. It's written back in 1990. That was 4 years before I was born. Sweet. So I'm going to start with reading you the back of the book. And this book is called The Instant Millionaire, A Tale of Wisdom and Wealth. And John David Mann, the co-author of the national bestseller The Go-Giver, says that there is serious gold in these words. And starting with the back, first one by Seattle Times, it says, an entertaining fable, reminiscent of, but even more basic than George Clayson's The Richest Man in Babylon, or Wes Roberts' Leadership Secret of Attila and Hun, and also by Wes Roberts, a delightful book to read and reread. The Instant Millionaire percolates with insight on reaching your true potential. That is by Wes Roberts, the author of Leadership Secrets of Attila the Hun. Now, do those who succeed work harder than those who only dream about success? Are they smarter, luckier, more ruthless? And does financial success bring happiness? These perennial questions are perhaps more timely than ever. The Instant Millionaire answers them in an unforgettable voice of a very wise and wealthy old man, known as the Instant Millionaire, because he grasped the true secret of making a fortune overnight. This sage mentors a young man with frustrated dreams and 9-to-5 disappointments. In practical, ready-to-implement lessons, he reveals the ideas and actions that can give anyone the mentality of a millionaire. This simple yet powerful mental shift paves the way not only for financial success but also for profound personal fulfillment and well-being. Astounding! A simple, compelling book that raises a series of powerful questions. That was by Success Magazine. And what a valuable book. The Instant Millionaire is deceptively simple. Yes, it points out essential strategies familiar to so many. Boldness, clarity of vision, and tapping the limitless power of our thoughts. But there is also a wealth of tactical detail, canny observation, and subtle perspective in these pages. It's worth reading a second time, and a third, carefully, with a blank notebook at hand. There is serious gold in these words. John David Mann. Okay. Loaded with very specific advice that opens the doors to both financial success and personal well-being. And that is by Stepping Up Magazine. So, let's get started with the Instant Millionaire. Oh, excuse me. First, I'm going to get started with the foreword. It is quick and easy. And then I will read chapter 1 because this book is not very long. Okay, so foreword. We're all storytellers. We tell each other our stories, and we all love a good tale, whether it's in a movie, in a book, online, or whispered to us late at night. We pass around our stories, and they include a vast number of fables. Fables are especially wonderful things because, as Webster defines it, they enforce a useful truth. This little book presents us with a powerful and original fable that reveals one of the most useful truths of all: financial prosperity and a fulfilling life well lived. Our goals we can all achieve if we understand and practice the principles of success. Perhaps a fable is the finest form in which to present these truths, for in the childlike simplicity of a fable, we can communicate directly with the childlike simplicity of our subconscious minds. Once we get a message to our subconscious minds, we can create a great many positive changes in our lives. The Instant Millionaire has now been published in over 37 editions all over the world, and over 2 million copies have been sold. The author is a genuine millionaire, and his little fable is not to be taken slightly. This is a book to be read, reread, studied, and practiced. It is a brilliantly conceived book that can make you wealthy in many ways, and some are far more satisfying and valuable than material riches. That is written by Mark Allen, author of Visionary Business and The Millionaire Course. And now, Chapter 1, in which the young man consults a wealthy relative. There was once a bright young man who wanted to get rich. He had had his fair share of disappointments and setbacks. It couldn't be denied, and yet he still believed in his lucky star. While he waited for fortune to smile, he worked as an assistant to an account executive in a small advertising agency. He was inadequately paid and had felt for some time that his job offered him little satisfaction. His heart was simply no longer in it. He dreamed of doing something else, perhaps writing a novel that would make him wealthy and famous, and end his financial problems once and for all. But wasn't his ambition a bit unrealistic? Did he really have enough talent and technique to write a bestseller, or would the pages be filled with the bleak, unfocused ramblings of his inner misery? His job had been a daily nightmare for more than a year. His boss spent most of each morning reading the newspaper and writing memos before disappearing to indulge in a 3-hour lunch. He also changed his mind continually and gave contradictory orders. And we've all had bosses like that. Yeah. But it wasn't only his boss. He was surrounded by colleagues who were also fed up with what they were doing. They seemed to have abandoned any sense of vision. They seemed to have given up altogether. He didn't dare tell any of them about his fantasy of dropping everything and becoming a writer. He knew they would treat it as a joke. When he was at work, he often felt cut off from the world, as if he was in a foreign country, unable to speak the language. Every Monday morning he wondered how on earth he was going to survive another week in the office. Hello. I just finished a book. No, yeah. It's okay. Did you, yeah, I'll leave you to do what you're gonna do. No. Okay. Are they gonna go visit her? Are they visiting? That's funny because Chris and Franny took Edward to go see Santa.
Today?
Yeah, earlier. I think they're still over there right now, I believe. It was, yeah, they took him to Walmart, but they also took him to the library. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, cousin, I'm gonna finish with this. And, don't mind me.
Bye now.
Okay, I'll see you later. Have you well, I'll ask you some other time. Okay. Yeah, I will. Okay, so where were we? This is my cousin Adrian, by the way. She's awesome. It's alright. So, every Monday morning he wondered how on earth he was going to survive another week at the office. He felt totally alienated from the files piled high on his desk, from the needs of clients clamoring to sell their cigarettes, their cars, their beer. He had written a letter of resignation 6 months earlier and had walked into his boss's office a dozen times with the letter burning in his pocket, but he had never been quite able to go through with it. It was funny. He would not have hesitated 3 or 4 years ago, but now he seemed unsure of what to do. Something was holding him back, some kind of force. Or was it simply cowardice? He seemed to have lost the nerve that had always helped him to get to where he wanted to go. I'll see you later, cousin. To get to where he wanted to go in the past. He kept waiting till the time was right, finding all kinds of excuses for not jumping into action, wondering if he could ever really succeed. Has he turned into a perpetual dreamer? Did his paralysis spring from the fact that he was saddled with debts, or was it because he was simply started to get old, a process inevitably triggered the minute to give up our vision of the future? Or was it because that was a question? Or was it because you're never too old to do anything? Or was it because he had simply started to get old, a process inevitably triggered the minute we give up our visions of the future. One day, when he was feeling especially frustrated, he suddenly thought of visiting an uncle of his who had become a millionaire. Perhaps he might be able to give him some advice, or better yet, some money. His uncle was a warm, friendly person who immediately agreed to see him. He refused to lend him any money, however, claiming he wouldn't be doing him a favor. "How old are you?" his uncle asked, after listening to his tale of woe. 32, the young man whispered timidly. Do you know by that time J. Paul Getty was 23, he'd had already made his first $1 million? And that was when I was your age. I had $500,000. So how in the world is it that you are forced to borrow money at your age? Beats me. I work like a dog, sometimes over 50 hours a week. Do you really believe that hard work is what makes people rich? I guess so. Anyway, that's what I've always been led to believe. How much do you make a year? 35,000? Yeah, about that much, replied the young man. Do you think that someone who earns $350,000 works 10 times as many hours a week as you do? Obviously not. So if this person earns 10 times more than you do without working any more than you do, then he must be doing something quite different than you. He must have a secret that you are totally unaware of. That must be true. You're lucky you understand that at least. Most people don't even get that far. They're far too busy trying to earn a living to stop and think about how they could even get rid of their money problems. Most people don't even spend an hour of their time trying to figure out how they could get rich and why they never managed to do so. The young man had to admit that, despite his burning ambition and his dream of making a fortune, he had never taken the time to really think his situation through. Everything seemed to distract him and prevent him from facing up to the task that was obviously of fundamental importance. The young man's uncle was silent for a while, then smiled. I've decided to help you. I'm going to send you to a man who helped me to get rich. He's called the Instant Millionaire. Have you heard of him? No, never, the young man said. He chose that name because he claims he became a millionaire overnight after discovering the true secret of making a fortune. Excuse me, sorry. Okay. He claims that he could help anyone become a millionaire overnight, or at least acquire the mentality of a millionaire. His uncle turned to a large map on the wall and pointed to a small, somewhat isolated town. Have you ever been there? No. Why not give it a try? Go and find him. He just might reveal his secret to you. He lives in a fantastic house, the most beautiful one in the whole town. You shouldn't have any problem finding it. Why don't you just tell me the secret? Then I won't have to take the trouble of going there, simply because I don't have the right to. When the Instant Millionaire confided it to me, the first thing he did was to make me swear never to tell it to anybody. However, he did say I could refer him to people. All of this seemed both surprising and involved to the young man. It certainly aroused his curiosity. Are you sure you can't tell me anything? Anything at all? Absolutely positive. What I can do is recommend you highly to the Instant Millionaire. The young man's uncle pulled out a sheet of elegant writing paper from the drawer in his massive oak desk, took his pen, and hastily scribbled a few lines. He then folded the letter, put it in an envelope, and handed it to his nephew. Here's your introduction, he said, and here's the millionaire's address. One last thing. You must promise not to read this letter. If you ever do open it, despite my warning, and you still want it to work for you, you'll have to pretend that you haven't opened it. But how can you undo what's already been done? The young man didn't have the vaguest idea what his uncle was talking about, but he agreed. His uncle had always been a bit eccentric, and he was doing him a favor after all, so he decided not to press the point. He thanked him warmly and left. Okay, that is the end of chapter 1, and right now we're going to go ahead and get started on chapter 2. I'm going to end it in this video, and we'll see you in the next